Friends and Power Together. Fill the Humvee. Saturday, December 14th from noon to 3 in the Target parking lot on South Frederick at Owensboro. All items will go to benefit the current Toys for Tots campaign.
Find the 1027 The Game community calendar on OwensboroRadio.com or on the Owensboro Radio app. We are Kentuckiana's.
Big Blue Nation. Big Blue Nation. Turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. You've arrived at the ultimate destination for Kentucky basketball game day. This is the Bleed Blue Kentucky Basketball Pregame Show.
Still a big part of everyone's lives. Still part of a lot of the focus of people. But that's over now, and then it's time to move on to basketball. And Mark Pope gets his first road game. All these players get their first road test when communication's a little harder and you can't really hear. It'll test their cohesiveness and see how close they really are as a team.
Jaden, I think this is the thing you're the most excited about. We just went through a long football season, obviously, doing pregame show. It's the first time we've done it. Now we're into basketball season. We got renewed. This is, I think, what you were ultimately hoping for, is we were going to get basketball, and here we are doing basketball pregame. How excited are you to be doing this for a lot of the big games that we've got for the rest of the season?
Well, Cincinnati guy just absolutely
posterized him. Absolutely posterized him.
I'm super excited to do a basketball pregame show. I mean, I thought we were going to do 3 shows today and get to talk about a whole lot of basketball, but we made it down to 2. And
things did not go as planned today.
You know what? It's been one of those days. It happens.
So obviously Kentucky is on the road tonight against Clemson. We play Gonzaga on Saturday. There's a lot of other fairly interesting games going on around college basketball tonight. Obviously, right now you've got Villanova playing Cincinnati. Villanova is playing pretty well. I actually picked them in a parlay tonight, so I'm kind of happy with this.
Is it plus points?
Yeah.
How many?
I think it was like plus 135.
Like pick the money line?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I took the money line. I took 3 money line parlays.
Well, what's your parlay? You might as well.
Miami. It was Miami, Kentucky, and Villanova.
Oh, we'll get to that Miami. I'm sure that'll be a very exciting topic throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, because they're playing Arkansas. And this is just one of those games where you look on the schedule and you go, this is a Cal special of they're going to go and have a stinker.
See, I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking this is like everyone doubts him and he goes and beats a team. Like he has some master.
Maybe, but
it was 3 games a year where he comes up with the game plan and
but that's against somebody that they shouldn't really beat. Miami's a team I think they should beat. So that's different. Now, look, we'll talk about that later. Obviously, Kentucky taking on Clemson tonight. Clemson is 7-1 on the season. I don't know if they're. I think they were probably hoping that they were going to be undefeated by this point going to this game, ranked. They lost by 13 points to Boise State. I think that was a little bit of a surprise. Boise State's only 5-2 on. I say only, but I mean only 5-2 on the season. The season's still young, but I think that was a little bit of a surprise that Clemson not only lost to them, but kind of lost pretty handily. Villanova's also taking it to number 14 Cincinnati already early on, by the way.
Yeah, Cincinnati's schedule hasn't been great, but they're still undefeated. Yeah, I'm looking at Boise's schedule. Their losses are to San Francisco and Boston College. Boise's schedule doesn't look great, if I'm being the most honest with you. But they did beat Clemson. That game was all the way in Boise, which which is important.
Granted, it was that, but I mean, Kentucky's got a lot of travel tonight. So first of all, it's a late game. It's 9:30 on a Tuesday. We're used to those 9:00 games. It's not something that we haven't done a lot of, but obviously 9:30, that's weird on an East Coast game. We're playing in Clemson. We're not playing in a different time zone. If we were playing in Texas, I think you would be like, all right, that makes sense. So that's a little weird how late it is. Then they travel cross country to go to Gonzaga this weekend. So this is a big test, I think, for Kentucky. Number one, you're playing in a hostile environment. I'm sure Clemson's going to be up and ready for it. Number two, then you got to travel cross country, play another top 10 team in Gonzaga, who's probably one of the top. I would say Gonzaga's probably one of the top 7-8 teams that could win the title this year.
You pick 5 right now.
Yeah, I mean they've got one loss.
But we would also probably in it. So.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So, what do you think the key to tonight's game actually is with Kentucky going on the road tonight?
I think the key to tonight's game is finding a way to create an offense in the half, not in the half, but yes, in the half court. So Clemson's pace is very confusing to me because on offense, they're very fast, but on defense, they slow you down. They like to press a pretty decent amount. They have one of the slower defensive paces in the country. Penn State's a pretty quick offense. They held them to like 67 points. So it's an interesting matchup because of the way that they play. They almost play like us on offense and then like Virginia on defense. Obviously not as good as those Virginia defenses and not as good as our offense, but it's a similar kind of thing. They don't shoot a lot of threes, but they make a lot of the ones they do take. To me, they kind of remind me of Western.
That's not fun.
No, it's not fun. That's why I'm nervous.
Looking a little bit about, kind of the points they've given up, 64, 62, 62, 84, obviously to Boise State, 51, 55, 67, 58. But their only real game that they've played against good competition really has been, I don't even know if we'd say good, but, traditional Power 5 Penn State. They won 75-67. They don't light the world on fire from the offensive side. They've got a couple guys that are, good scorers that they've, you got to shut down. But this isn't like a high octane type of a team. This is a team, though, that plays physical. They're going to try and do a lot of the things that Western did, right? They're long, they're athletic. They're not going to run you out of the gym. You're going to have to be more, this is not a finesse team. So Kentucky at least has seen this, probably not to this level because obviously this is a step up in competition. But I think that Western game was a lot better because now they've seen something like that compared to what they're going to see tonight. But, obviously when you do that in your first road game, things can be, different and dicey. But the one thing that people say is shooting travels, right? And that's the one thing Kentucky can do well, but it's the one thing Kentucky's not done phenomenally well the last 2 games.
No, they definitely struggled to shoot the last couple games, and it'll be interesting to see how the half-court offense facilitates. I'm actually anticipating more of an inside game. Clemson does not block a lot of shots. I think they only block about 3 shots a game, despite being big. They're a pretty large team, but they don't block a lot of shots. And then they're physical. They get up in you on defense, a lot of ball pressure. I think this is kind of a recipe for backdoor cuts, give and goes, getting to the rim, and making things happen in the paint more than the traditional 3-point approach that we see.
Yeah, no, I agree. Touching a little bit on just real quickly before obviously football ended. Pretty disappointing season today. We've lost, over the last, today and yesterday, lost a couple players. Jamori Macklin has entered the transfer portal. Keyshawn Silver's announced he's going to enter the transfer portal. No, someone from Sea of Blue has confirmed he's leaving. Plus, I talked to him. He didn't say he was leaving, but he didn't say he was staying. And that's usually kind of a giveaway plus with Harley Gilmore, what he said. Keyshawn Silver entered the transfer portal. I think that's somebody that they wanted to stay. I think it's someone who probably hasn't hit all of his full potential as here is former 5-star. I don't think he's probably fully clicked. Maybe it's system-wise. But Kentucky's got a lot of work to do. Obviously, the news 2 days ago that Vince Merrill was potentially looking at going to Louisville. He never actually admitted he was talking to Louisville. He just said he wasn't going to talk about it. He just said something about rumors and dismissed it. But this is a critical offseason. I think you're going to see a lot of players transfer. I don't think that's necessarily a horrendous thing to see happen. But they have to really prove that they can bring in some dudes. Got a flip today. I know on Twitter, not everybody was excited about that because they said 3-star, but I mean, there's a lot of 3-stars that play at Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, and this guy was getting recruited by a lot of those teams. So that was a solid pickup for Kentucky today, and it sounds like they've got 2 or 3 more guys that they might be able to get flipped before signing day tomorrow.
Yeah, Phil Longo, offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, got fired. So top 500 receiver Cameron Miller decommitted today. He hasn't committed to Kentucky yet, but he received a couple predictions for Kentucky, and is probably committing tomorrow. I have to guess on signing day. We'll have a big breakdown for signing day tomorrow on the live show. But there's a Minnesota corner that is on potential flip watch is visited, an Ohio State corner that's visited, and there's another safety. I can't exactly remember where, but they're definitely making a move, and they need to make a lot of moves, and they need to make some moves in the transfer portal. I don't think Keyshawn Silver was someone they wanted to lose. He's not great, but there aren't a lot of people at his size that can hold up. And the people that can do that are very expensive. And
Gerard Mosley apparently entered the transfer portal. I didn't. I don't know. I've not heard of him, but apparently that just kind of happened too. But that's fine. A lot of Kentucky's commitments, though. I know Kentucky lost 2 players, but I mean it's not level of what Florida's doing to a lot of people right now, which is atrocious. I mean Tennessee lost some guy. Missouri, LSU's losing a lot of people.
They lost a 5-star quarterback and a 5-star corner.
Yeah, so here's a weird thing. It's apparently showing that we're live for a football pregame show. I don't know why. It literally says Bleed Blue Basketball pregame show. I don't know why. I probably need to just delete these out then and redo it. So I don't know why in the system it says it's Bleed Blue Basketball pregame show.
Channels, I think it's each individual channel. I think the title is football.
Well, there we go.
Oh,
I can fix it. There you go. So there you go. Anyway, we won't talk about basketball a lot anymore, so go ahead. Or football.
I mean, the football, they lost Avery Stewart as well. 4-star corner safety, kind of tweener from 2 classes ago. He was a promising prospect, but it seems like he kind of ended up as a tweener. Never really found a spot on either of the 2. And considering how thin they got it secondary, especially corner, not getting a ton of run was, a little bit of a sign that maybe they didn't have a ton of confidence in him. But I think he definitely has the potential, the athleticism. He's pretty good and pretty decent in coverage, at least in high school tape. So I think he'll find a good spot. But I'm excited. I hope they hold on to all of their guys. I know DeMarcus Gardner was somebody that I was a little worried about. Ole Miss has really been getting after him, and he affirmed today that he was going to sign tomorrow. So that was exciting for me. Martellus Carter is the one I'm watching.
All right. If someone could say I guess I can get on X and look. I think I updated the stream name. Sorry. So there's a main title and then it didn't change the subtitles, which is weird. So if you're listening or you're watching on the live stream and you see that it says Texas, it's not Texas, and hopefully it updates and I will now know to go do that for the watch along. Also, Rando, that explains a lot of the reason why that was saying that to you. And now we can go to multicast and see a lot of games. So I'm very excited.
John Calipari.
Oh boy, live commentate John Calipari basketball. I don't even know how to, and it's not commercial, of course. It's the only game that's commercial. Speaking of commercials, we probably need to take a commercial here in a second. Yeah. Well, we did do we're kind of used to it, I think.
I'm just gonna watch along with it now.
Just to watch it. All right, we're gonna take a break, guys. We'll be right back here on the Bleed Blue Kentucky Basketball Pregame Show. We'll start talking a little bit more about Clemson, what they bring to the table, how Kentucky matches up with them, what Kentucky needs to do to win. We'll give you predictions. We'll also keep you up to date with what's going on across the landscape of college basketball right now. You are listening to the Bleed Blue Kentucky Basketball Pregame Show on 102.7 The Game.
Nothing messes up your Friday like realizing it's only Tuesday. But if one day defines your week, make it Tuesday.